Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Around the Town with Chuck. My name is Chuck Guglielmo, a weekly interview show where we talk with interesting people around the community. And today we are taping this show on Wednesday, November the 14th. Renee, you're an interesting person around the community,
Well, thank you for saying that, because I really don't feel interesting,
Well,
but that was a very nice title.
I
Thank
think you are an interesting person, and hopefully John thinks you're an interesting person.
Well, he
still
thinks
after
I'm
all these
crazy,
years.
but that's besides the point.
Always good to talk with Renee. Of course, Renee and I used
Go
to
back.
talk quite a bit on the AM live show in
Yeah,
the
we
morning.
go back a long ways,
when
guy.
Pat
Yeah.
Williams was the host. And of course, Renee's also the director of the Conneaut Food Pantry. Renee, how long have you been the director of the Conneaut?
15 years.
15 years already. What
Yeah.
gave you the interest in that?
Father Thomas.
Oh, tell us about it.
Yeah, I was at the time,
You succeeded who? Who did you?
Jeanette Reed. Jeanette Reed. Thank you, Pat. Thank God I have Pat here.
Oh, let's not give
Jeanette
the
Reed.
camera person any
I'll
credit on
tell
my
you,
show.
she's the go-to person. But I had at the time I was.
I forgot about her.
Yeah, and I was working at Orlando's, and I left Orlando's and went to do a nanny job, which I absolutely loved. And Father Thomas called me out of the blue, and he said, "Look," he said, "I don't know if you'd be interested, but there's a position that I think kind of suits you. And you might want to look into it." So he kind of filled me in on what it was. And at the time, Michael Bartone was the director over at the County Human Resource Center. So I thought, okay, well, the nanny job was only during school time, not summer. Was kind of like getting to that end of that time. So I thought, well, hey, let's go look into it. I did, and it just kind of flowed from there. So I really have to attribute Father Thomas to, I guess, looking at me and seeing that maybe that was a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's been a good fit, but I've been there for almost 15 years now.
In those 15 years, how have you seen it grow?
Well, when I started the job, I was only the director of the food pantry, and I was the on-site person for Halo. Since that time, which, oh my gosh, was 2005?
Do you know that one too, Pat?
I think 2005, maybe 2004, something like that. It's gone from, I wear different caps now. I've gone to, it's not really just the food pantry. It's more of emergency assistance is what we deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And I deal with not only food issues, I deal with utility issues for Salvation Army as well as CHRC. I also work with the Halo program still. I'm still the on-site director for that. I was the on-site director for Mary's Kitchen and have just recently turned that over to Nick Prokosky. So he will be the on-site director, but I had done that up until August of this past year. I do the community Thanksgiving dinner every year. We have done the Christmas dinner in the past, but this year there will not be a Christmas dinner. Unfortunately, we're kind of revamping some stuff. I do, oh my gosh, I don't even know. I think that's about it.
So
and on the Produce to People program.
A lot of expansion in your 15
Yeah,
years.
right. I mean, the director job there is not just food. It has a lot of, I always look at it as veins that kind of go out into the community.
Mm-hmm.
We've dealt with, I think there's been, since I've been there, 3 major fires that families have lost everything. So I work with those families, trying to get them assistance and what they need. If you have somebody who's homeless, they come in, they need to know how do they go about getting to where they need to go. I work with them and get them where they need to go if I'm able to. A lot of times I'm not, and that's very disheartening, but I'm not. We work with women who are running from a bad situation, who are looking for assistance. We will help with that and get them in the right path. We may not be able to directly help them through our program other than food and other things, but we may get them to a shelter or to where they need to go get them the information they need to go where they need to go.
Of course, you are at the Human Resource Center Monday through Friday?
Yep.
And what are your hours?
Well, my hours are from, I start earlier, but actually when people can come in and see me are from usually around 8:30 to 1. Fridays we close early. Now the center itself is open till 4:30, depending on what's going on. But Fridays we close early, so we're closed. I believe at 1:30 on Friday. So it's kind of just call. That's the main thing. If you have any questions about our hours or when to see me, because you do have to schedule to see me, because I am really, we go by appointments. If it's an emergency, we'll work around that.
For the viewers out there, what number can they call to get a hold of you there?
That would be 593-5273, and my extension would be 308.
308. Okay, that's the Renee Roach extension 308. Renee, you also have a show on these very same channels. You co-host Town Talk Today, is it called?
Town
Talk Today. And Dolly Sherman's with you.
Yes,
and is Pat Williams back with you?
Pat Williams is also back with us.
How did that show start, and what do you like about it?
Well, that started with, it was really weird. Dolly and I had gone to lunch one day, and we were so sick of the negativity in our town. And this was like maybe, what was it, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago? Oh, we were just hearing all the bad. And of course, all towns and all cities and whatever have good and bad about them. But it just seemed like at that time, it just seemed like there was nothing but bad being said about Connie.
Not just in Connie, it's like that all
it is
over.
Everywhere.
That's all you hear is the negative.
But I guess we have to focus on our area. So we were sitting there having lunch one day, and we're just talking about, there was a situation that had come up, and we were talking about how we felt about it. And it was like we both looked at each other and said, well, why don't we do something about this? What can we do? And it just kind of snowballed from there. And what we're trying to do with our show is just highlight the good about Conneaut, the businesses, the new businesses, the old businesses, what is available here in Conneaut. And I'm sure your show does the same. But there's just been so much darkness on our city. Yes, things have changed. I believe that. I mean, since I was a kid, it's not what it was when I was growing up. No. Would we like to see it go back to that? In many ways, yes. In many ways, no. There's good and bad in every era and every time. So I guess we're just trying to say, we have a lot of good here. And if our attitudes don't change about our area, nothing's going to change. We have to be the beacons of this area and say that, we have a lot of bad, but we have so much more good. I mean, look at our beautiful lakefront. I mean, we have such an asset there. We have good people here. And I know that through my programs, that they step up to the plate when I'm asking for whatever. There are people out there that just, organizations, individuals, families, they step up. I do the Halo program. And I see people saying, we'll adopt a senior, we'll adopt a family. I see with my community Thanksgiving, I just received a $1,000 donation from 2 different entities. I won't name them because I don't know if they want them. But I mean, people do we have a great community here. You may not see it when you drive through our town, but I feel it's a good place to raise a family. I mean, I know Pat and yourself have raised your boys here. We have. I'd like to see more families come here and really utilize and embrace what we have to offer. And yeah, we've got sidetracked. We've lost businesses, we've lost jobs, we've lost a lot of things that brought people here. But until our attitudes change and our way of thinking on our area changes, I don't know if that will come back. And that's what we want to see. We want to see everybody like yourselves who have lived in Conneaut during the good times. I've always felt it was good times. We want to see that come back. We want to be able to see families come back and raise their families here and have a good education and have good jobs. And even if they have to drive 45 minutes, that's not a big deal today. Back in when my parents were, my dad was never home. He was a construction worker. He was only home on weekends because of the gas issue. So yeah, you have to sacrifice some things when you come to a smaller area. But I think our area has so much to offer. I really do. And I pray that it comes back. Maybe not the way it was when I was growing up, but just comes back. It's a great city.
Of course, your show, Town Talk Today, doesn't have a setting. You take your show out to the places
Wherever.
where you're going to interview.
Exactly.
Do you do that? Dolly does that? Pat does that? Where do you find where you're going?
We're Dolly kind of like spearheads that, and she touches base with Pat and I, and what do you think of this? And yeah, we think that's great. And where do we think, we kind of collaborate after that's out there, or after one of our shows, I'll say, hey, you know what? I heard about this. Let's look into that. So we kind of like, all three of us kind of like collaborate on that forefront. So it's really not just me, Pat, Dolly. It's kind of like all of us. We all have to be in agreement. That is one of the things, we always said,
Have you ever had a disagreement?
Absolutely, no. I don't know of one.
You know how Pat can be.
Oh, no.
We're talking about Pat Williams now.
He's a sweetheart. He really is. Pat has done
Icon.
so much for this community in the years past and now. Even for my program, back in the time when I first started doing the emergency assistance, and you were on board with his show on the radio, that's when it all started with me and Pat and yourself, getting the word out as to what our needs were, and then of course then we went into our telethon, and Pat was huge in that, and
raised quite a bit of money with Pat there.
And I wish it would go back to that. We have been able to, and Pat's been on board, $22,000 to $27,000 a telethon.
That.
Last year we only raised $6,000. Now, am I scoffing at that? Absolutely not. I am grateful for every dime, penny,
You've
dollar
always
we
said
get.
that. Yep.
But we really do. And the sad thing is, every year I say this year is worse than last year, and I don't really know how it can ever get worse than the year before, because it always seems like it's a struggle with us. I'm seeing the demographics change so much in my line of work. You see 1 year families, next year you don't see as many families, but you see seniors, or you see unemployed or struggling adults, single adults, couples. So every year it changes, and it's you just kind of have to, you feel like you're surfing. That's how I look at it. Like you just kind of have to go with what is there, and I know it's hard for the community because everybody is getting asked to donate, because funding, and Pat can tell you this through what she does with St. Vincent de Paul, and they're all being, everything is being cut financially everywhere. Funding is being cut. It's getting harder to get funding, so everybody's scrambling and going after everybody. So I understand that it's not going to be what we want it to be as far as financial amount, but whatever we get, we're grateful for, and we'll work with it. We'll make it do. Somehow we've been able to do it, and hopefully we'll be able to continue.
One more thing on your show, Renee, and then I want to talk about some of these programs that we've been kind of talking about in more detail. Now as I said that, what did I want to ask you about? Of all your shows that you've done on Town Talk Today, is there one that stands out that you found to be the most interesting? Obviously they all were, but was there one that you really felt you came out of there and you learned a lot?
Yes. I think it was Matt Crawford's Discovery.
Out at Gateway?
Out at Gateway.
Yeah, he does a great job with that, doesn't he?
Phenomenal. And I'm not saying that because Matt tapes for us, and I know people will think that.
He tapes for me too
He
sometimes
does.
too, so give him a plug.
He's phenomenal. But I will tell you, when I went out there the first time, I was amazed. Because I was like, wow, I didn't know this existed. But then as I went out I think we've done 2 or 3 tapings. And I am just so in awe of the fact that, well, first of all, the passion that everybody involved, not just Pat, has for that. But the things I've learned since I've gone out there, I'm amazed. And I just think it is such an asset to our youth and our schools to have that out there. And they put so much into it with such love and passion. I just think that is amazing to me. And if anybody hasn't been out, God, please take the time to do that.
I got to do that.
You do, because we walked it the first time, and I think the first time we went through it, it was, just certain little things. But then the second time, it was like you started to really pay attention to what's out there. It wasn't just about what you were talking about. You were looking at what was around you and and it's just amazing. I just love it. It's beautiful. Kudos to all of you.
The one show the three of you did that I enjoyed was when you guys went out to Orlando Chiropractor.
Oh.
That was funny.
Or the breast cancer one. Well, and I did that. And there are so many things that we've done that, but Orlando was hysterical. That was kind of...
Yeah, that was...
fun.
Yeah, it was.
It was fun.
It was interesting, too. Very interesting, and he's a good guy.
He is. He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He really is. And when we did the breast cancer awareness, and I hadn't had an exam for I can't tell you how many years I had been. And I was actually scared to do it for fear what would come back, because I hadn't done it. And that fear, I will tell you, I think is the worst thing for a woman. I think is the fear that stops you from going to have it done. That not wanting to hear what they might say. So when I went, it was like, okay, I'll do this, but I actually wanted to say, don't call me if there's anything bad. But thank God it came back well. But if anything we do helps someone overcome that type of stuff, because I will tell you, I was scared to death when I did that breast cancer one. I really was. I was scared because I hadn't been in, I bet 12, 15 years for exam. And I thought, and I know many people who have struggled with this and have gone through this, and it was an actual fear in me. Still is a fear, to be honest with you. I won't deny that. But that, I think that show for me touched me more than anything, because it was like I had to overcome that fear because I had to do it because the other two were forcing me to do it.
Was that out at UH?
We did it here in Connie at UH here.
Let's talk, Renee, now about some of these programs. I know you've mentioned them briefly, but let's get into a little bit more detail. Let's start with your current fundraiser. Now, you're on the morning show.
Yes, we are.
Tell our viewers out there what you're looking for during this telethon.
The telethon started, I think this is our 8th. I'd really have
8
to
years
check.
already.
It's either 7 or 8 years.
And weren't you doing it sometimes after the city council meeting?
Well, that started after Pat went off the air.
Okay.
Because when Pat was on air every morning, I was able to go on, and then they taped it, and they rebroadcasted the show periodically during the week. So it got the word out that we're doing the telethon and blah, blah, blah. So when Pat went off the air and Jim took over, Jim is only on, I don't believe they rebroadcast his show. He's only on in the morning from 7 to 10. So that's where that kind of hurts us in a way. Nothing against Jim, because it's not, I don't mean that way, but because we're trying to get the word out more and more and more, because we don't have what we had with Pat's show all week long being broadcast. So now what we had to do is we had to think, okay, we have to come up with different ideas. So that's when we started doing, after the council meeting, we did 1 or 2 tapings.
And how did those go?
Not bad, not great, but hey, you know what? Anything is good.
Right.
So we don't usually do that until December. The telethon actually starts in November and goes to the end of December. Now, what the telethon is, it's the Glenn Turner Telethon. And the reason for that is Glenn Turner, who is a citizen of our community, came to me 7 or 8 years ago and said, look, I want to do something for the food pantry, and I've come up with some different ideas, but we have to tweak it. So we worked together for about a month trying to figure out what can we do to get the word out and do this once a year. And somebody said, what about do something like the Jerry Lewis Telethon? And just it kind of clicked. It was like, well, yeah, we could do that. So that's when we got on board with Pat, and Pat did it through the month of November and December, on and off, different times. And we raised, our first telethon was $22,000, and then our second one was like 13 or 14,000, and then it kind of dropped. And then year before last, we went back up to 27,000, and then last year it would drop to like 6. So we're hoping this year.
Why the huge differences like that?
I don't know. I don't know if it's just the times and people are, watching their. I really don't know. And I've always said if my service area is very large, the people we serve is not just Conneaut area. We serve Kingsville, North Kingsville, Monroe, Pierpont, parts of Sheffield, parts of Andover. So we have a very large territory to cover. And if everyone who lived in those territories donated $1 a month, we would have nothing to worry about as far as servicing our people with any need that they have. And you have to remember, I know I had someone says, well, that judgmental thing comes in. And I always say to people, you can be as judgmental as you want. That's your right. But tomorrow you may be hit with something devastating like an illness in your family of some kind, or you may lose your job. You may have a house fire. These are things unseen that we have no control over, that you may be coming to me for assistance. We need that backing to be able to assist whoever comes through those doors. And people don't come in and I don't just say, oh, you need help here. No, they have to see me. They go through an interview with me. We talk, we get through what we need to get through, and I get some information, and we try to direct them. Maybe it's not what they think is needed. We direct them in the right direction. So there's a lot involved in it. It's not just, I had somebody say, yeah, well, anybody can come to you and get whatever they want. No, that's not how it is. We are very, very careful with our money and very careful with, and we want to do it the right way. We want these people to understand that when they come through those doors, we want them to leave with more knowledge and more education to help them through this than just, here's a Band-Aid. We don't want to be that Band-Aid.
What I've learned, Renee, doing a couple of those telethons with you, maybe 7, 8 years ago, is sometimes people don't want to call because they're a little shy talking on TV.
Or they don't even want their name known. I know that's fine.
Or they can call you at the resources center,
sure
or they can bring their donation to you. Is that correct?
Exactly. You don't have to call. You can just bring it into the resource center, make it out to the Conneaut Food Pantry in the memo area, put telethon, and just they'll know where to direct it. You don't have to call me on the show. Mm-hmm. It's just that sometimes when people call, it gets people sparked. So no, I understand that. Sometimes you just don't want people to know, and that's fine. That's
or they're shy to talk on the TV and
exactly.
stuff like that. All right, let's go on to another one. Now you mentioned the Thanksgiving dinner coming up.
Yes.
That is sponsored by the Human Resources and Corpus Christi Parish. How did that come about?
Oh, geez.
What's this, about 5 years or longer?
Oh, longer than that.
This
is like our 7th year.
Wow.
Oh, I'd have to really stop and think, to be honest with you. I get so confused, all of them. But I was doing, it kind of sparked through Mary's Kitchen. I was in charge of Mary's Kitchen, and Father Miller came on board, It was like, how can we reach
Oh, you
more?
got both priests plugged in today. You
Oh,
talked about
I
Father
did.
Thomas.
Hey,
Now we're
Father
getting Father Miller credit.
Well, Father Summers and Father David.
Oh,
Hey,
there you go.
I will get them all. I love them all in their own special way, let me tell you. But yeah, Father Miller is very big on outreach, as well as the rest of them. And I don't really know how the Thanksgiving dinner got started. I think it started where a lot of my clients and people would come to utilize our Mary's Kitchen, as with talking to them. It just kind of sparked it. A lot of these families are not, either they don't have family, they're alone, they're senior citizens and can't get out and can't really cook for themselves.
And nobody wants to be alone on that day.
Right.
Of all days.
Of all days. And I think that's kind of what touched us. It was like, wow, who wants to be by themselves on Thanksgiving and what, have a can of soup or a TV dinner? So it kind of like spawned from that, and talked to Father Miller, and it started out kind of small. But then it's really grown.
You've served hundreds of families on that day.
Yeah. Last year we
And you had
served,
takeout, right?
Yes,
If
we
they
have
don't wanna-
homebound for the homebound people. Now, I do want to make clear what homebound means. Homebound means that you have a physical disability, or you have someone in your family who has a physical disability that cannot be left, that you have to be there to care for them, or you have no transportation. Now, I do realize that a lot of the seniors have transportation but don't get out in bad weather. So when you call to make your reservation and you say, I'm homebound, I will ask you, well, what is homebound to you? What makes you homebound? And I only do that because last year we had 300 and some deliveries.
Wow.
Which is a
Just
lot of
deliveries.
Just
the
deliveries. And as we looked at our past records, some of them really weren't homebound, that I thought. So this year I am asking, and I'm making sure that they are homebound, because it's very, this is on Thanksgiving Day.
Yes.
And we are asking a lot of volunteers to come in, give up their day or their time of that day to be away from their families to do this.
That's just as incredible that they do that
They
for
do,
you.
and I have a
feed the families.
phenomenal volunteer base. I really
Youth group
do.
gets involved in that too, is that right?
Yes, we have the youth group gets involved. Oh my gosh, the people get involved. Well, today, and I told Chuck he probably can't stand it. I smell like turkey. I just came from there. We did 11 turkeys. We have 11 more to do, and we will have 70 turkeys done after tomorrow.
Wow.
Ready for the dinner. So, and I have 4 people to thank for that. Mike Pignotti helps me.
Great cook.
Marie Ely helps me. Jerry Janko helps me.
I don't know him.
He is one of our, he comes to our senior group, and he helps me with Halo, and he has come on board. This is his first year coming on board with helping me with the turkeys. And then, of course, there's myself.
What are the hours for the Thanksgiving dinner?
Thanksgiving dinner, we deliver from 10 in the morning until 1. We get all the home deliveries done and back. And from 1 to 3, eat
In the hall.
in the hall.
And then we got to credit the people that get the hall ready and then clean up afterwards as well, right?
Yeah, that is a day. My husband and I and a few other volunteers go in at 4:30 in the morning, and we are there probably until close to 6 that evening, between the prepping, the serving, and the cleaning up. And then, of course, we prep all week, the week before, because everything is from scratch. We don't.
Well, maybe when Chuck Guglielmo's not working next November at Thanksgiving time, maybe he can
I
be
have
one
you
of
on my
those
list
coming
already. Your name is down.
That's why I said it. I figure you did have my name on the list.
I do.
You mentioned Halo. Now, tell us about that program.
Halo is a yearly Christmas program, and it is actually a program that is Catholic Charities, through Catholic Charities. I am the site coordinator for the clients that are from our area. Okay, so it is a program to help families who want to apply, they come in and they apply for Halo. It is an income-based program, so you must have with you proof of income, of all incomes in the household, everybody who lives in the household, whether it's grandma, uncle, brother, sister, kids. If there's income, we must see that income. If it's Social Security, SSI, SSD, bring those ward letters in, or your bank statements that show your income. Know all of your food stamps. If everybody's getting now that does not go into the income base. We just want to know that. If you're receiving child support, we need to know that. Once we determine whether you qualify for the Halo program, then the application is filled out. You fill out name, ages, birth dates, wants and needs. We have a list for kids from 0 to 17 years is available for gifts. And we try to get all of these kids adopted out through an organization such as Shop with a Cop, which is not Shop with a Cop anymore. It's Kids and Cops now, I think it's called. St. Vincent de Paul, Kingsville Kama, all the other churches in town. If you're an individual family who wants to adopt a family, which I have a lot of people who do, come in, adopt a senior. As of today, all of my kids are adopted that have come through. My seniors now I'm going to be working on. So it's just, if you don't get adopted, the kids would receive a $10 gift per child, and you would get a food voucher for the size of your family to purchase your meat for that Christmas dinner.
Okay, HALO stands for, now I think I know 3 of it. Angels Loving Others.
Holiday Angels.
Holiday Angels Loving Others.
Yes, and that's what that stands for.
Good program.
It's a great program, it really is, and we're hoping to see it evolve into more. But like I said, the key to that program, as far as I'm concerned, is getting our families and seniors adopted. And it doesn't take much to adopt. I mean, well, Pat, you know what the adoption process is.
Well, you're getting a lot of...
She is. Hey.
We should put her on
St.
camera.
Vincent de Paul, really, God love them, they do. And Kingsville Kama and all the other churches, I cannot say thank you enough to them, because they are really... And of course, with kids, I hope I'm saying this right, Kids for Cops, or Kids with... They changed it from Shop with a Cop, but they'll be taking my remainder of the kids that I get in. So, but I do want to see some, I want to see some of my seniors too. I mean, you know, seniors go without, and they just never ask. So it's, you know, I would love to see my seniors get adopted too. So anybody out there who's wanting to give up their Christmas, it doesn't take much to make somebody else's day a real blessing.
Brighter.
A real blessing.
And
yeah.
a little bit brighter as
Yep.
well. Oh, since you don't do nothing, Renee, tell us about the Salvation Army now. I hear you're involved with that too.
I am.
It's ringing the bell season.
It's ringing the bell season,
And
and
you want volunteers for that too, right?
If you want to volunteer, you need to call Mary Young at the center, 593-5273, extension 310, and she will tell you who to contact wherever you're wanting to ring, because there are different areas. Salvation Army. Now remember, when you donate to Salvation Army, it stays, if you donate at any of our designated spots, like Orlando Kingsville, Orlando Golden Dawn Conneaut, or I think there's one out at Bushnell, they have the countertop one. Anywhere that is in our designated service area, that money stays in our area. It doesn't go to Ashtabula or anywhere else. It stays right here.
And that's a good thing.
That's a huge thing. People don't sometimes understand that. I know people will get letters in the mail to donate to Salvation Army. That's wonderful. I would rather see you donate to Salvation Army here than through that letter. Because once you send that donation into Salvation Army corporate, it gets dispersed throughout all of Salvation Army areas. If you give at your local, then it stays local. and we're able to do more. And I am the voucher writer for Salvation Army. So I do all the emergency assistance for Salvation Army through CHRC. So we need that money here to help our people here. So
Needless to say, with the Halo and the Salvation Army and the Thanksgiving dinner, that November and December are your biggest months of the year.
October, actually we start in September doing turkeys, cooking turkeys. So from September until January 1st,
Wow.
I can be an ugly person.
Well, I didn't want to say John said, no.
John will attest to that.
That is quite a resume you have, and good luck to you and all these things you do. But when I get you in here next November, you need to add a couple more things because you
You're
don't.
sure I'm going to be here?
You don't have
You
nothing
think
to
I'm
keep
going to
you
be here
busy
next
with.
November?
You're going to be here, Renee. Thanks.
Thank you so much, and thank everybody out there for supporting. Whatever you do to support our community is well received and well needed.
Renee Roach, Director of the Conneaut Human Resources, Director of the Conneaut Food Pantry, my guest today on Around the Town with Chuck.